What's up, guys? Welcome back to the shop. Welcome back to the channel. We are still pecking along on Homer here. We've got everything done, ready to go. Even got the carburetor up there, and we'll get back to that here in a little bit. But on today's episode, we're gonna skin a hood. Not sure if any of you ever have done this before, but I know the racers and car enthusiasts and drag racers and so on and so forth have been doing it for decades. But anyway, we're gonna take some weight off this hefty old girl. Right now, I'd say she's probably in the 50-pound range-ish, give or take. So we're gonna flip her over, skin all the weight off of it to make it easier for us to get on and off the car and around our tractor flaps. Got one on each one of the pipes. We'll show you guys that later on. But anyway, welcome to the channel. Welcome to the shop. This is Busted Radio Garage. Let's get after it. All right, guys, next thing on the schedule is skinning this hood. And as you guys know, when we're gonna have to take this hood on and off for these competitions, what have you, that hood weighs an absolute ton. So what I'm gonna do is come in here with this cutting wheel and cut off all this excess metal in here. So essentially all it's gonna be left is just the original hood skin itself. All of this support and weight and skin is gonna be gone. Hopefully I didn't get through the hood itself. Ah, that's what it was, a seam sealer, that's what was smoking. I know I don't seem like much, guys, but man, you get 100 pieces like that, it adds up. So let's keep going. We're gonna skin this thing. Get all this jazz off here. I'm thinking some of the smaller stuff I can probably just snip off. Eliminate some of the chance to going through the main hood itself, which we don't want to do, or I don't want to do. See if I can get another big piece of this main center support here. Trying to keep from throwing sparks and stuff all over Linda. Best I can. And you gotta just kind of get a feel for the tool too. Because if you're not careful, you will go through the hood skin itself and never even know it until it's too late. It's just like a puzzle, but in reverse, if that makes sense. Now I know some of you are gonna go, well, this is gonna affect the durability of the hood. It's gonna make it flimsy. And yes, you're right, but I'm not using this hood to go down the track or anything of that nature. It's gonna be off the car. That way the first responders or the fire department have good access to the car if it was to catch fire. This is mainly just to keep the hood protected when we're traveling. Once you get into a rhythm, it's not too bad. It's just getting into the rhythm of doing it, getting your section started, and then peeling it off. So I think what I'm gonna do now is just be a little more careful and try to get some of this big center section stuff out and worry about this fine stuff here in a little bit. Because if I'm not super careful, I'm gonna go through the main hood and that's just gonna look terrible. And if you see what I'm doing, I'm getting in kind of heavy in here because I know I've got a 1/2 inch of room before I hit the main hood. But down here where it's like I've only got a 1/16, I'm just kind of scoring this metal. And then when I come in, I can kind of pry it up, get it loose from the main hood itself. And then I can take snips in here like so and trim it back. And that way I'm not taking a chance on getting the main hood. And then just a matter of just prying it out. This is time consuming, so don't, think this is gonna be a job you're gonna do, super quick, because you're not. This is just weight reduction. Racers have been doing this for years and years and years, trying to reduce the weight of their race cars. The only difference is I'm doing it for a burnout car. And that's just because we want to make it easier for us to get this hood off the car when we're traveling. Because nobody wants to be lifting a 100-pound hood up over the car. Just get you a good set of snips. See how that piece is just gonna all peel back now. And we'll peel that all the way back to here, to the main front support, and lop it off. And I haven't went through the hood anywhere that I can tell, so that's what the plan is. Ultimately not to damage the main hood. Now I'm gonna take and I'm gonna lop this off here, and then we'll start working this back, getting this off. Ultimately try to get this area done, and then we'll start working our way back there and try to shed, like I said, 20 pounds off this hood. It's gonna make it a heck of a lot easier on everybody. We'll go from there. So hang tight, they're gonna keep filming, I'm gonna keep cutting. Remember, safety first. When you're doing something like this, you're not gonna replace an eye if you get a piece of steel on it. All right, there's one side. This isn't rocket science, guys. It's just cutting up a car. That's all you're doing. Just taking your time. There's another piece. Just keep doing that same thing all the way around. So I think what I'm gonna do now is I'm not gonna try to separate the factory spot welds. That would just be ridiculous. You're not gonna get all them welds out of there without tearing up the main hood. So I'm just gonna come across here, get this main hood support out here, and just gonna leave the main lip. I'm not gonna try to get the factory spot welds. I'm gonna shear one of those cutting wheels. It's gonna cut one of my fingers, or I'm just gonna damage the hood itself. It's not worth it. Keep, like the KISS method, right? Keep it simple, stupid. So that's what I'm gonna do. I'm just gonna get the main section out and be done with the rest of it. Now all I did up here in the front was took the wheel and just kind of scored it. The plan is to cut it here and just fold this piece back and rock this out and just essentially take this section out. And if any of this is jagged or whatever, I'll just take a flat disc or something and smooth it out to where nobody's getting hurt. Again, we're just trying to take weight off the car. Roll this back. Okay, now I got a factory spot weld here. I'm just gonna try to pop it loose. And it came, it wasn't that big of a weld. Now this is where you gotta be careful. I'm gonna try to get in here and I'm gonna try to score this a little bit more. If you're not careful, you're gonna cut through your hood. Here's this side. Now we're just gonna fold it back, and remember, like I said a while ago, where I scored that, we're just gonna rock that off there. The metal is already weak back there, so it shouldn't be a problem. All right, here's this side. Now we should be able to just fold this back, found a mouse nest, and just rock this off here. All right, now that's a heavy chunk. That's probably 2, maybe 3 pounds right there, just in that piece alone. And we've got 2 or 3 sections just like this to take off. So just that there's 10 pounds off the hood. Now this here, I'll see if I can skin this off. If not, we'll take a flat disc and just smooth it out. But I may be able to pull this loose, we'll see. The only problem is this is going to be spot welded to the main bends of the hood. So we may be able to work with this, I'm not sure. We'll find out together here though. Yeah, see this here is actually spot welded. So we may just get as much as we can and smooth the rest of this out and leave it. We'll tackle this in a little bit. I'm gonna keep trying to take some meat off here. I think I'm gonna start here and just work my way around. That and the Kathy's there with the camera. We'll see if we can keep from catching his head on fire too. All right, I'm gonna try to take this whole section off here in one piece. This here's pretty thin metal along with here. So I think I'm gonna just take the snips, cut here, and then essentially just pry this big piece off. I was gonna do safety squints there, but changed my mind. Okay, I gotta be careful there. I almost bent the hood. So I gotta keep your mind right. I don't want to get in a big hurry. another big section of the skin. So we'll get rid of that. All right, now the plan, I know this looks all jagged. We're gonna clean this up, okay? Right now I'm just trying to get weight off here. So now I'm just gonna run right down this edge, all the way to the other end. And this is getting to be pretty thin metal. So I'll get all the thick stuff where I know I'm safe. And then we'll come through here with the snips and try to take this whole big section out in one piece. So essentially 1/4 of the hood, we're gonna try to take out in one shot. So give me a minute, I'll get the grinder, we're gonna start cutting this down. And once we get all this weight off, we'll come through there again and we'll clean all this up. All right, let's go. I will say, guys, these cutting wheels, I buy mine, all of mine from Harbor Freight. You guys know I buy a lot of my tools there. I would rather have nicer cars and nicer things. I mean, tools are tools, right? That and they warranty a lot of it anyway. However, these Bauer cutting discs, I think they're like $9 for 10. I mean, you can't beat them. So that's what I recommend. That's what I use here. All right, let's go. All right, guys, so now I'm gonna see if I can pop this edge loose. And if we can, I'm gonna go through here. I just kind of scored this. I can cut this with the snips and we'll see if we can pop this whole piece out. Yep, give me the tool back. Ooh, I broke that blade pretty good. right, there's that piece. Between all these, we got seam sealer, so we got to kind of break this seam sealer up as we're pulling. So we've got this area all loose back here. Let me trim this up a little bit more. Now inside here, we're gonna have the braces or the brackets for the hood, right? So we're gonna have to be careful of those. We're gonna have the inside brackets and the outside brackets. Now keep in mind, you should probably be wearing gloves. My hands are like shoe leather anymore, so it really doesn't bother them, but if you, you really need to be safe when it comes to your hands. Don't take what I'm doing as good advice. This hood's getting so light, it's hard to pull anymore. All right, there we go. So this whole section is now out. So now, this here is actually not too bad. I actually cut it down far enough to where I could take a flat disc and clean this up. So this isn't too awful bad. But I bet there's every bit of 20 pounds of steel there. And we still have one more. I'm gonna try to take this section out and one more quarter, just like we done the last. Then I'll take that last little piece out. And then I'll clean this up a little bit, flat disc it down, and I bet this thing doesn't weigh nothing. So it's gonna make it a heck of a lot easier on us. All right, let's get back to cutting. All right, guys, now this is wheel number 3 going on here. Like I said earlier, you will go through these wheels, but they are super cheap, and it cuts through this stuff like butter. I mean, it really does. Just be careful you don't burn yourself. And I just use these Bauer heavy-duty cutting discs. I think you get a pack of 10 for like $9. And it's not too bad. It's less than $1 a piece. You can't beat it. Well, I done got my tool stuck. Alright, let's get back to cutting. Catching myself on fire. Alright guys, we're cut all the way around the perimeter here, just like we was a minute ago. So now I'm going to pry up the seam sealer that's in here, and we're going to try to take this piece, one big old chunk, and then we'll get this last little section, flat disc it all, and we're going to see how much easier it is to put on this car. So let's keep going. Alright, I got a piece here I'm about to cut. I missed, and it's a little too close to the outer skin, but I don't know if I'm going to risk it for the biscuit, if that makes sense. A lot of seam sealer in here. They would put sections of seam sealer up in here that big around. I mean 3 inches around, and it's sitting right down in these divots. So it takes a minute to work that loose, but we're gonna get her out. Get this pried back out of our way. You want to be careful where you're prying too, because again, that's your main skin, so anything you do on this, you're going to see on the opposite side. Okay, I think we're almost there. Now, what's going to get me is in this sunken section here is going to be seam sealer like you wouldn't believe. That's what we got to get broke loose. And you gotta be careful, because if you're working in here with your wrists around that metal, you know what could happen. So be very, very careful.
All
right.
Whatever.
There is another huge piece, and here's what I was talking about. Here's where that sunken section is. This is where it was metal to metal. You can kind of see. Look at these big blocks of seam sealer just in this area. I mean, we got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 blocks of seam sealer. Well, you can see the back here, even look. So it's a lot of seam sealer they put in there to hold that still. So that piece is gone. And look at all this weight. Look at all these supports where them hood hinges hung. All right, we got one more piece. And then we're gonna flat disc this down, clean it. And I mean, I can tell you right now that this, I mean, it doesn't weigh nothing. Nothing. If that thing weighs 10 pounds when I get this piece off there, I'll be impressed. It's gonna be super easy to put on the car. We'll kind of blow it off, wipe it down, flat disc it, get it cleaned up before we stick it over everything that we've got going on over there. So, all right, let's cut this last piece. I appreciate y'all watching. If you could, hit the old ding bell, drop me a subscription for this. Come on now, we're getting up there, we're almost to 2,000. Let's go, let's get to cutting. All right, one more piece. It's getting kind of hard to pry and move around because this thing doesn't weigh nothing. All right. There we go. A perfectly skinned hood. Then we'll clean this up, wipe it down, and then we're gonna stick it on there, and this thing is gonna be a lifesaver. I mean, I probably should have picked a crappier hood to do it, but this is the only hood I had for Homer. And it's Homer's hood, you know what I mean? We're not gonna do anything else with the car. But that's a way to skin a hood and save you some weight. Like I said, race car drivers have been doing this for decades. I mean, decades. Weight, getting rid of the weight, drilling frames. I mean, everything they can to get weight off. So let me get a flat disc put on this real quick. We'll go around, clean this up, and we're gonna see what she's like on the car. Hang tight. All right, guys, what I've got here is just, again, it's a Bauer Harbor Freight flat disc. So what I'm gonna do is go around here and just clean these burrs off all the way around. Again, it doesn't have to be super pretty, right? And then we're gonna set this on the car and see how much easier it is. So let's go. All right, guys, I got the majority of the burrs off there just for this purpose. I mean, I'm gonna clean up the edges just a little bit more, but mainly I just wanna get this hood stood up, get the dust and the crap beat off of it, and we're gonna see ultimately how much lighter it is to put on the car. I should have weighed it, but I'm gonna guess probably 20 pounds, 25 pounds worth of metal laying right there. So let's get it stood up, let's get it put on the car. I would say there's probably a pretty good shot I could pretty much do. Yeah, I mean, that's ridiculous. How much lighter that is. It's a lot more flimsy, but boy, it's a heck of a lot lighter. So we're gonna get this put on the car. Hang tight a second. And for the love of God, don't drop it on my hand. Look how much lighter that is. I mean, that is ridiculous. All right, guys, the main thing too, we wanted to see if we could get this over our tractor flaps. So I think we're gonna go in, over and down. Set the back down first. Sorry, people around here eating tater chips. All right, go ahead and let your end down first. Go ahead and let your end down first. There we go, guys. A nice skin Cordova hood. Now the downfall to this is all this support that was here to keep the body lines the same is now gone. So the hood has actually fallen beneath the nose. So I'll have to create some supports here to keep this up to where it's supposed to be. But other than that, the goal is to just lighten the hood. So we're not struggling so bad trying to fight that big heavy thing around. Aside from that, it looks really good. I only got a couple little marks here from my screwdriver, which I probably could have been a little more careful with it. But other than that, I'm tickled to death with it. I'll get a body hammer and tap those down, no big deal. I'll make a couple supports here, probably just put a couple brackets, mount them up here to the core support, and then this hood can sit right down on them. Again, no big deal, but we got our tractor flaps put on, so we're good there. So we do have our carburetor in, and it's sitting right here. I'll show you. So we're gonna get this put on and start testing on this. You'll see that video coming up next weekend. Hopefully by then you'll also see the car all lettered up and ready to go, maybe do a test burnout. But anyway, this was sent over by a good friend of mine, Bill Lamberger. He runs a parts site, if you will, for this type of car. But he sent me over a real nice, like NOS newer thermoquad for the car. So thank you, Bill. And then another problem that we ran into, and when we were hooking up the fuel lines, because I busted these at Indy last year, is my inlet port to my sending unit broke off. So I'm trying to get with them about getting me a sending unit over here, which isn't that big a deal. It's just the inlet port. If I got to, I'll block it off. We're gonna be feeding all the fuel to the engine anyway, and then we'll deal with that when we get back from Bradenton, because when we get to the superchargers and all that jazz, it's gonna have a fuel cell anyway. So nice little short video for you guys today. Just kind of fill you in, let you know what's going on. We'll get this thing running hopefully by next weekend. I'm working with TNF signs right now to get all the decals ready for Bradenton, which are gonna look really cool. I don't want to give that away just yet, but they're gonna look sick. As you can see, we've got our wheel woods peeking through our wheels here, and those things are ridiculous. We got more braking power than that car's probably ever had. But I don't think there's anything else to share with you guys today. But I appreciate you hanging out with us again. It's just a short little episode, kind of like a little filler for the week. Let me get over here where you can see my mug. It is awful nice outside today here in Kentucky. Beautiful, especially after the tornadoes we had here the other day. We did suffer some barn damage on our barn. We suffered a little bit of damage on our car storage barn, and we suffered a little bit of damage on the farm. But it could have been a lot worse, and we fared a lot better than a lot of our neighbors. So please keep them in mind. Keep them in your prayers for us here in Kentucky. And All right, guys. That's going to be it for this episode. Thanks for watching. We'll catch you next time.